The countdown to Christmas is on, and the countdown to holding my nephew for the first time is even closer. Ooh, I'm so excited. Let's have some fun. New Day Northwest starts right now.
It's a new day.
Now, from the Virginia Mason Franciscan Health Studio at King 5 in downtown Seattle, this is New Day Northwest.
Good morning and welcome to New Day. I'm Kelly Hansen. We're so happy to have you here with us today, and it's going to be a very good day. With all the holiday events and guests in town, you might be wondering where to celebrate. Well, my first guest has a great idea, seated at a table at his restaurant, Goldfinch Tavern in the beautiful Four Seasons in Seattle. So welcome back, Chef Ethan Stoll.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Cooking with you is such an honor. So what are we making today?
Today we're doing one of the dishes from the Goldfinch Tavern's holiday menu. So we're going to do a prime rib, or in this case ribeye, and we're going to do it with some creamed greens. So we've got kale and spinach and Swiss chard in there, and then some Dungeness crab mashed potatoes. So we're going to fold some fresh Dungeness crab into mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, but first I'm going to teach everybody here, since I'm here, I figured I might as well teach people how to cook a ribeye.
Teach all of our home cooks, please, including me.
Okay.
This is intimidating, so how do we get started?
All right, so first thing is make sure you have a nice hot pan.
Okay.
Add a fair amount of oil in there.
Olive oil, what do you put?
I just put olive oil in there in this one, but you can use any kind of oil. And then get your ribeye, this is in this case, pat it really dry. You want to make sure you have a nice dry steak when you're searing a steak, so that you're not battling the moisture of it. Sprinkle a generous amount of salt.
That looks like fancy salt.
It is, Maldon sea salt, and then a fair amount of freshly cracked pepper.
Okay, you're not kidding with the seasoning.
No, you got to add a lot of flavor to get that flavor out of the steak.
Oh, I like the sizzle.
Yep, and then you add it in there. I call this thing the little chef wiggle here to make sure it's not stuck to the bottom. So you want to make sure it's searing properly. Now, I've got a couple of tips I use for people. I tell them 2 to 3 minutes on each side.
Okay.
Right? And make sure when you get a steak, you make sure it's even throughout so it cooks evenly, right? So we're gonna cook this 2 to 3 minutes on each side, then let it rest for
Why is
an
the
equal amount of time.
resting important?
Well, it's important because the steak is, a lot of people, one of the things people have when they cook steak at home is oftentimes they serve it too hot. So all the moisture gets forced to the middle of the steak, and it has to like cool down and relax to have all that moisture, which is the blood, redistribute throughout the steak. So if you go to a restaurant, oftentimes you get that really bright red center eye of a steak, and you're like, that never happens to me at home. It's usually because they let it rest. Let it rest for a good 10, 15 minutes. It's totally fine.
10, 15 minutes?
Totally.
Oh, I'm not patient enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to be patient with the steak for sure. There's no doubt about that.
So am I able to look for like any coloring or anything with this, or 2 to 3 minutes is
2 to 3 minutes. The other side, as long as you patted it dry, you're going to let it caramelize. You don't want to have that moisture because the moisture creates steam. And so if it's dry, all the protein will just sear up and crisp up really nicely. So we'll check it in a couple minutes. We've got to let it be patient.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
And don't mess with it, be checking underneath it. Like you can do the chef wiggle, but that's about it.
That's about it. You just want to make sure there's a nice sheen of oil underneath it to cook it in.
Okay, and while that's cooking, what else is prepared with this?
All right, so this, like I said, this is on our menu at Goldfinch Tavern for Christmas Day. This is one of the entree options. And we have special menus going on all throughout the wintertime, right? All throughout the holiday season. I mean, I personally think headed downtown right now is magical.
It is.
There's lights everywhere. People are out walking around, hanging out. I mean, and one of the things I used to do as a tradition as a kid was go to hotels, right? And hotels have lobbies where people can hang out, relax. They're usually nicely decorated. You go have a little glass of wine or champagne or just some hot tea, whatever you want. But, that's what we're doing at Goldfinch Tavern at Four Seasons, right? Our lobby's beautiful. People can go there, relax, maybe have an oyster or two, have a glass of wine. It's super easy. It's a beautiful street.
You're right near Pike Place Market, too, for people that aren't familiar,
great.
right in the heart of downtown. We're looking at some of the decor there inside the hotel. That's fantastic.
Yep.
So if you don't want to decorate your own house, I guess just head to the Four Seasons and you'll get the full holiday Christmas experience.
Totally. So I already cooked the steak. I'm going to flip this over and show you what a properly browned steak looks like, and then I'm going to ask you to help me out with the mashed potatoes, all right?
Please. A lot of pressure is on, but I think I got it.
And as far as the greens go, those are really a traditional creamed like a creamed spinach you get at some restaurants. But we have kale, Swiss chard, spinach in there. What you do is you saute it down with a little bit of olive oil and garlic, add a little bit of bechamel, a little bit of cream. So it looks creamier than it actually is, but it's delicious.
Does it have garlic or anything in
Oh,
it?
yeah,
What am I
it's
smelling? Okay,
definitely
I'm like,
garlic,
I feel like I'm smelling garlic. It
Yeah.
smells delicious.
And I'm going to add that into there.
Oh, that's some crab, some Dungeness
a lot
crab.
of crab in there.
We're folding it in then.
And I'm going to give you a couple drops of lemon in there as well.
Oh, zesty. Fresh lemon too. You don't
Fresh
want the
lemon.
lemon juice.
Yep, and we're going to add a little bit of some herbs here.
Oh, what
Like
kind of
a little
herbs did you
parsley,
put
is that?
in?
That's it. Just
Parsley?
something simple. So I'm going to flip this over now. So you see that?
Whoa.
How it has
Look at the sear on that
beautiful
baby.
crust on it that's super crispy, and that's how you get that great bite to it, right?
Oh,
It has crunch on the
yum.
inside, nice and medium rare on the inside. Crunchy on the outside,
So
sorry.
medium rare is what you recommend. I always want
I
to
do.
know from a chef, like what you.
I'm a medium rare person.
Medium rare.
You know, oftentimes chefs really go rare,
Oh.
and I find that it doesn't cook it enough to really break down the muscle tissue. So I like medium rare.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
How did
all
I
right.
do there? I folded
You
it
did-
all in
you did great.
perfectly.
They look beautiful. Yeah.
And then a little time on that. So
little
can I
bit of time on
ask you
that.
a question that I've always wanted to ask you? If
Yeah, sure.
anyone could cook for you, what is your dream meal? And you could even say if there's someone particular that you would have wanted
Oh,
to have
wow.
cook for you.
That's a fine question. You know, I'll answer it in a couple different ways. Obviously, you'd love to have some fancy chef, you know, Albert Roux, Thomas Keller, somebody cook for you, right? But honestly, you know, I mean, I think going out to restaurants and eating out is so much more than just the food. I think it's really about who you hang out with. I mean, because I can make you a great dinner. I can't make you have a great experience. So
Well, I don't know
you
about
need
that.
to bring the fun.
Okay, I've already
I ideally make the fun so much more enjoyable and so much more tasty. So really for me, it's really about who you hang out with. So who do I want to hang out with? I want to hang out with my family. You know, I
Yeah.
want to hang out with my parents, you know, Sarah, my kids, everybody. You know, so
Yeah.
I love hanging out with everybody and just, you know, we don't get enough time in today's world. It's so busy, right?
Absolutely. Did you like find your passion from your parents cooking, or was this something that you've always been interested in?
Well, yeah, my dad was the home cook, just like I am at the house. You know, even at work. I mean, when I get home, I cook, you know, every day, and so I'll be cooking all the holiday meals this year, and doing all the stuff. Right? I mean, it's what I like to do. I'm fortunate. My hobby is my career. My career is my hobby.
That's the dream. That's what
Yeah.
everyone says. Then your career doesn't feel like work. What are you
That's right.
doing here? What are you chopping off?
I am slicing a piece of steak, and we're going to plate this thing up.
Ooh.
So, the idea on a ribeye, you know, some people find ribeye to be pretty fatty, and it is, right? I mean, it is not the steak you're supposed to eat every day of the week.
Leanest cut. Okay.
You know, so I tend to have it on the holidays a lot because it's you can roast one entire ribeye whole and have that as the meal for, you know, however many people are coming over. It could be 10 people, 20 people. You probably have enough. All right, so there's that
Okay.
piece of it.
What else is going? Mashed potatoes.
Once you put a piece of mashed potato on there, once you
All
put
right.
a scoop right there,
Right here.
yeah, maybe a little more.
A little.
Maybe a little more. We want those mashed
going-
potatoes. So
yeah.
this is, keep in mind, this is a holiday plate,
Yes,
everybody.
exactly. Calories don't count.
No, not on the
Okay, we
holidays.
get some greens on there.
Yeah, you got to make it
And
healthy.
then what's the sauce that you're pairing it with too?
Well, we make a very rich veal reduction, and then we reduce that down, so it's called a demi-glace. And then we take red wine, reduce that down, then combine them and reduce it down some more.
Oh,
So,
wow.
It's a really rich sauce, and it's got a lot of acid from the wine, and so the acid in the wine is actually what cuts the fat of the ribeye.
Ooh.
So you can either, and anything kind of acidic on a steak is actually pretty good. I oftentimes put a lot of lemon on mine.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
can't wait to try.
Well,
Here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
Yep, here we go. So you can see, watch how glossy this is.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, it takes a lot of time and commitment to do stuff like this, but it's worth it because people have a good time with it. You ready for a bite? This thing's still cooking. We're gonna leave that
I'm
there.
ready.
All
I'm
right.
gonna have at least a little mashed potatoes, and then I know I have to. Okay.
Take this thing out.
Oh my gosh. And you can start slicing that up, and I'm going to cook that very, very soon and taste that. Thank you so much for being here,
worries.
Ethan. The
Happy
Four
holidays.
Seasons, happy holidays.
Thanks.
We'll have their special feast on Christmas as well as a glamorous New Year's Eve celebration. So check out the Four Seasons for reservations. Oh, that's so good. And also this winter, a chance to give back. Seattle Humane is providing hope and help to pets in need across our community. With the cost of caring for a pet higher than ever, they need your support to ensure every animal receives the love and care they deserve, whether in a shelter or a loving home. Your generosity helps Seattle Humane Shelter Pets connect them with new homes and provide vital resources like pet food and affordable vet care for families struggling to keep their pets. Together, we can make sure no pet is alone for the holidays. Just use the QR code that you see right there on your screen to help save lives with a gift to Seattle Humane. And still ahead here on New Day Northwest, we learn all about a global wellness movement all about starting your morning on the right foot. And then calling all readers. New Third Place Books is here to give us a roundup of their top reading picks of the year. And then when you're out holiday shopping, don't forget those stocking stuffers. The toy guy is back with these small items that pack a big punch for kids and adults.
New Day Northwest is sponsored by Seattle Humane.
Are you tired of shopping bags tipping over in your car? You need the Auto Anchor. Perfect for commuters, parents, or anyone on the go. The Auto Anchor installs in seconds on the post of the headrest and even works as a phone holder for hands-free viewing in the back seat. Scan the code on your screen to order right now. And with this special TV offer, if you buy one, you will get 3 for free. That's right, a full set for your car. The Auto Anchor is strong and durable and fits most vehicles. Scan the code on your screen and get your Auto Anchor today.
The oceans, mountains, and deserts of the West make for some wild weather. This is Weather Out West. Watch weekdays for travel forecasts, climate stories, and weather alerts, all west of the Mississippi. Weather Out West on King 5 Plus.
Scan the code on your screen now and get your console catcher today.
Kids of all ages love finding treasures in their stockings. As the kidult market continues to boom, we found some great ideas for the kids on your list, no matter how old they are. And here to play is the toy guy, Chris Byrne. Hello.
It's so good to play with you again.
Yes. So I feel like the stocking can be the most exciting, best part, at least for me.
Well, it is, and in many families where the adults don't exchange gifts, they still do stockings because it's something you can put in and have a little fun, just like you were a kid again.
Yes, and speaking of being a kid again, this first one reminds me of growing up and watching my brothers play.
Absolutely.
Hot Wheels, right?
Hot Wheels, still very collectible. This is the 5-pack F1. They're the F1 racers, and they've been leaned heavily into F1. We've got Visa, McLaren, F1, just wonderful collectible die casts. They work on the Hot Wheels tracks. Just great for kids of all ages, whether you're playing with them or displaying them.
Definitely. 5-pack from Mattel.
From
right?
Mattel, Hot Wheels, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, sticky rolls. I've never seen anything like this. What is going on here?
So the original sticky rolls were bracelets where the beads were actually stickers.
What?
So you could pull off the stickers and paste them on different things. Now, for a promotion at a trade show, they made some big ones. The kids went so crazy, they went viral that they've actually produced them. This is Seattle company, Sky Castle. Sticky rolls, these are the jumbos. So you can see that you can do the whole room.
This is what it looks like?
That's what the jumbo looks like. It comes in a tube. And the other thing Mom and Dad will love is You can peel it off with no marking on the wall, and it's restickable. So if you want to move, if you want to change it around, it's really great.
This would have changed the game when I was younger. It would have helped my parents so much from all of us putting stickers all
Less
over
tape,
the wallpaper.
fewer nails in the wall. Just stick it on and you're done. It's really great.
That's cool. Okay, and then so are these the Little People collectors?
Yeah, Little People have been around since 1959, and most people know them as Little People in the towns. Well, now the adults love the collectors. There's Little People for almost everything, for Stranger Things, Lord of the Rings, but one of my favorites is Nightmare Before Christmas. I love that. We've got Jack Skellington, we've got Sally, we've got Zero, who glows in the dark, and Oogie Boogie. They're great to play or display. They come in a box that's suitable for display, but we took them out so you could get a good look at them.
I love all these options because exactly, I want to display maybe on my desk.
Exactly.
So that is cute.
Exactly.
Herbie.
Now, Marvel Fantastic Four, Herbie is their sidekick. He's the AI robot. And just a great addition to your collectible Marvel collection. And what's cool about this is they're going down further into the secondary characters because the collectors are demanding them. The adult collectors really want this. This guy is from Hasbro, and he's just really cool.
Oh my gosh, I love Herbie. That just melts my heart. Look at him. Okay. This Hello Kitty, she has never left, I feel like,
Hello
right?
Kitty's been around for 50 years, and she's actually having a big moment right now. She's entered the top 100 brands for kids by Beano Brain lists them, and these are called Bum Bums. They're from Jazzwares because they've got beans in their bums, so they can sit up. And this is the holiday version of them, and they're for ages 6 and up. But again, we're seeing also a moment of little plush where you're seeing bag hangers or collectibles because people want that warmth and that cuddliness. It's really, we're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, and that's not expensive at all. Only $5. Okay, Hello Kitty, having a moment. Again, this is cute, and we can get these at Nordstrom, right?
Nordstrom's has a 3-pack, and these are Stanley Jr. DIY tree ornaments. It comes with everything you need, and the wood, the stickers, the screws, the tools in a set of 3, but you can also buy them individually elsewhere. And you just build them. Takes about, 20, 40 minutes, and you can build them and decorate them and hang them on the tree. So just really, really cute.
A fun DIY moment. If people like Legos or anything like that, it's that building block
The construction is great. Now, I would hang these on the lower end of the tree because they're part of the tree because they're a little heavy.
Good point.
But I always like to scale it up. But it's a really, really beautiful line from Red Toolbox.
Oh, I love. Okay, this we played with a while ago.
We did. We played with the original. This is Zipstring, and what's new this year is Zipstring Arachna. So there you go. You can see that. You put it on, and you're actually playing with it as though it was a web, and then you get it going.
Oh my gosh. And what I like about this new one is when you stop, it just goes all back in there. Unless it gets attached.
Unless you wind it around your Nightmare Before Christmas figures.
Okay, I'm doing it. Here we go. And then if you're tired of it,
just let it wind back up.
So it doesn't make a huge mess.
It doesn't make a huge mess. It's easy and you can play with it. Just so much fun.
It's feeling like Spider-Man is the vibe here. What is this like? Is this for all ages? What would you recommend?
Every time, you had other guests on the show. They were all saying, "I'm buying that." They were taking down the website zipstring.com and saying they were buying it. So we probably sold a lot of them backstage today.
How do you find the toys that you do? Are you testing them for people at home? Walk us through your process.
Well, we actually start looking at toys. We've already started looking at 2026 items for holiday 2026. And then we go to the trade shows around the world in Hong Kong and Nuremberg and China and look at what's out there. There's over 160,000 toys on the market in the U.S. at any given time, from little tiny things up to things like the Arachna.
Wow, you are amazing. Thank you for doing all the homework and the work for us.
My pleasure.
Around the holidays, for making it so fun, and I think I found my favorite. Oh, wait.
There you go.
The drama, I got it. And we're in. Thank you so much,
Thank
Chris.
you. Happy holidays.
Still ahead here on New Day Northwest, shoulder pain, what causes it, why it gets worse in colder weather, and when it's time to see a specialist. We break it all down next.
Christine, what kind of results have you seen using Intent IQ?
What you see here are stats that we've tried out for the past year, impressions with Intent IQ ID attached to them, and we've seen anywhere between over 55% revenue uplift to upwards of 140%.
Now, I can mention that we've succeeded by working with some agencies and advertisers. For example, we've delivered a successful campaign with Involve Media, leading to a 77% of increased lead in an education campaign. Now, the ultimate proof that our ID bridging solution is actually working is through the results, like we're providing and generating new incremental revenues for publishers and driving great performance campaigns for those agencies and advertisers, and it's just the beginning.
When it comes to bath time, our dogs deserve better. During their most personal moment, show your love with the Bubble Brush. With its built-in shampoo dispenser, the Bubble Brush cleans and soothes your pet's skin while removing dirt and loose fur. Your dog will love it. Chappie gave it a 5 poop rating, our highest honor. Make bath time their most cherished experience with the Bubble Brush.
The King 5 Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
First alert weather mode activated tonight.
Extended continuous coverage of breaking news.
The smoke should be considered hazardous.
Live from the scene.
It's a very active scene here.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. King 5 Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
The oceans, mountains, and deserts of the West make for some wild weather. This is Weather Out West. Watch weekdays for travel forecasts, climate stories, and weather alerts, all west of the Mississippi. Weather Out West on King 5 Plus.
Scan the code on your screen now and get your console catcher today.
We're in the height of sports season and the season where your body could get extra achy with the cold. Joining us today is Dr. Sean Halleman, a sports medicine surgeon with Proliance Orthopedic Associates. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So what is sports medicine and who do you care for?
Yeah, sports medicine is really the diagnosis and treatment of movement and activity related problems with joints, muscles, and tendons. And so I think traditionally we probably think of sports medicine like the young competitive athlete that gets
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you get injured on the court or the field, you go in and you get treated. But in reality, the majority of what we see are everyday people that love yoga or pickleball or golf, or maybe it's just cooking and cleaning and gardening, but joints will start to hurt, muscles and tendons will get injured, whether acutely or chronically, and that's who we take care of.
Okay, and what led you to really focus and hone in on the shoulder too?
Yeah, I just love the shoulder as a joint. It's a very it's a very complex joint. It's the joint with the most motion in the body, so there's this beautiful balance between the stability of the joint, the mobility, the strength, and then the dexterity. And in any complex situation or system, it's prone to have problems and injuries, and the shoulder is one of those. It is prone to injury, and those injuries are debilitating. So people have severe pain, and what's kind of unique about the shoulders, they have a lot of trouble sleeping at nighttime, and that brings a lot of people in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what kind of injury specifically do you see with the shoulder? I guess we'll start there.
Yeah, well, I wanted to create an environment where anything that could go wrong with the shoulder, people could come into my clinic and be seen for it. And so we see the whole gamut of shoulder problems. So younger generations tend to have more shoulder dislocations or instability, so labral tears or ligament injuries that we can fix through arthroscopic techniques. As we get older, we start to see more rotator cuff tendon injuries. That's a pretty common phrase that people know about. And those ones are very painful, and again, we can use arthroscopic techniques to fix those. And then as people get older, unfortunately, we see more falls and fractures and then degenerative changes like arthritis.
Gosh, yeah, and I want to talk about that as we're heading into this colder weather. We're really here now. Joint pain, arthritis, the flare-ups you're talking about. So what does that mean really for treatment with something like that?
Yeah, arthritis, much like hip and knee arthritis, is really just a breakdown of cartilage. So the shoulder will get stiff, it'll become painful, it'll become weak because of the pain. And so we see people come in, we can get imaging on site at any of our clinic locations. We can see if a joint's starting to get arthritic. And traditionally we'll try to start with conservative treatment. So movement, physical therapy, maybe medications or injections, which can be really helpful. And then ultimately, if none of those things are really providing people with relief, then we can do surgery.
I know I want to talk more about surgery. What does that look like? Because I know it can be intimidating for some people. And at what point do you call and say, okay, this is when I need to go in?
Yeah, I think when you come in is really when it's affecting your daily life or your sleep. So on a daily basis, if you're having pain and some of these standard conservative treatments are no longer working, then surgery can be an option. And much like the hip and the knee, we can replace the shoulder. So what's unique about the shoulder is that we have a couple different types of shoulder replacements. So we can do what we call an anatomic shoulder replacement, which means we try to mimic normal anatomy and just replace those components so it moves smoothly and you get your strength and your motion back. But there's also a reverse shoulder replacement.
What does that look like?
So essentially you just change where the ball and the socket are in the arm, and it changes the geometry of the shoulder. And that's more for people that have rotator cuff problems in addition to arthritis, because the shoulder needs the rotator cuff to function. But if we can switch the geometry, we can get a good functioning shoulder without having to have a rotator cuff. And sometimes we use it for people with poor bone quality or bad fractures as well.
Does it kind of depend on the injury too, how long, rehab and everything looks like after?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the more severe injuries, the fractures and stuff, we take a little bit longer. Some of the standard arthritis, we can get people moving a little bit quicker. And what's really neat right now with technology is we have 3D software where we can map out the shoulder before we even do surgery to make sure the components are in the right position. We're starting to use stemless implants so we can preserve bone stock and reduce blood loss in surgery. And then coming in 2026, which I'm really excited about, is we're going to do tendon sparing shoulder replacements. So traditionally in a shoulder replacement, you have to cut the front rotator cuff tendon, then you have to repair it at the end. So if we repair something, we got to protect it. So that means 4 to 6 weeks in a sling. We limit motion, we limit activities. But when we do it by keeping the tendon attached the whole time, we'll be able to reduce all of that significantly.
This is mind-blowing, and it's happening in 2026. I can't believe it. How can people find you? How can we find more information too if we're sitting at home right now and we're like, ooh, it might be time?
Yeah. Well, we're with Proliance Orthopedic Associates, so we have 6 clinic locations, all South King County area, from Renton all the way down to Maple Valley and Lakeland Hills. We have 2 urgent cares, so if you fall, you have an acute injury, you feel like you broke something or tore something, we have 2 clinics you can go in, be seen the same day and get imaging and on the right treatment path. And then, if it's just a nagging, lagging kind of injury that you just haven't dealt with yet, any of those 6 clinic locations, we try to get people in quickly. We have x-ray on site everywhere. We have a cast room. We have access to an MRI, and we have our own PT that we just started. And then if you need surgery, we have a surgery center. So you can have surgery, even a shoulder replacement, and go home the same day.
Wow.
And sleep in your own bed.
One-stop shop. Thank you so much, doctor. We really appreciate it. We know you're busy. And for more information about how to find Dr. Holloman, just visit the website that you see right there on your screen. And coming up next, we spotlight how early access to STEM programs is opening doors for students at one local school, how it's helping close a gender gap and prepare the next generation of innovators.
New Day Northwest is sponsored by Proliance Orthopedic Associates.
We're potty training. He's got pull-ups training pants. They work just like undies. And if accidents happen, he's got backup. Look at that confidence.
Oh, I wish I had some of that.
This is a journey. Loosen up. New Disney and Marvel designs. Only at Walmart.
Wait. Shoes for every giver. Shoe Department and Shoe Show.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Michael's Big Gift Sale is here. Get up to 50% off thousands of last-minute gifts. Save big on art supplies, kids' gifts, a wide range of frames, ribbon, mesh, bows, and more. Plus, all yarn is buy one, get one 50% off. Shop in-store and online today.
This holiday, simply celebrate with handcrafted bouquets and thoughtful gifts. With nearly 1 million gifts delivered nationwide, 1-800-Flowers brings Christmas cheer right to their door, no matter the distance. Order now at 1-800-Flowers.com.
Pick it
see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Guys, this will change your life. Check it out. I'm always dropping stuff between the seat and center console in my car. I installed this console catcher. Takes literally 2 seconds, and nothing will fall between the cracks again. It comes in 4 different colors to match your interior: black, brown, red, and beige. Right now, it's 20% off for a pair. Get yours today.
Has now been reported near Snohomish. A man died after driving onto a flooded road there overnight. We are also tracking breaking news in Pacific and South King County, where about 2,100 people are under a level 3 go now evacuation order because of a levee failure along the White River. Comes less than a day after a levee failure along the Green River sparked a flash flood warning yesterday, forcing evacuations in parts of Tukwila, Kent, and Renton. Crews have completed emergency repairs to the Desimone levee there. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti joins us now with the forecast for today. So what's in store for today, Leah?
Christine, we're not done with the rain yet. In fact, heavy rain is going to pick up this evening once again. So that's combined with the rain we saw last week. That's combined with the rain we saw early yesterday morning. So we just keep adding on to the pile. Here is a look at our rainfall totals from yesterday. We did see around an inch of rain in Seattle, Tacoma, and Olympia, give or take. Shelton picked up about 2 1/3 of an inch. So yes, it was another wet day. We have a little bit of a lull right now. Showers are starting to pick up, and those will increase into our afternoon and evening hours. Here's a look at the morning hours from today. Some light rain, mostly favoring the north and the northwest, but that is going to increase into this afternoon. Looks like a couple more moderate showers are along the Olympic Peninsula heading toward the Kitsap Peninsula right now. We also have some showers up around the San Juans and Island County as of right now. So for the rest of today, we're going to watch the rain increase. It will become heavy at times this evening and into our overnight hours, so we are not out of the clear quite yet. Here's a look at this morning. You can see there's that rain up to the north and the northwest, but into this afternoon and evening, we're going to watch that rain increasing. This is 4 p.m. today. You see that heavier rain really starting to fill in along the peninsula, up to the north around the foothills as well, so not quite as much down to the south to start, but that changes later on in the evening. 9 p.m. here, widespread, not just Washington, but down into Oregon as well. Another round of heavy rain is going to be moving in. Then after midnight, we are going to see colder air moving in. Snow levels are dropping down. We'll shift our focus to mountain snow for tomorrow and the next couple of days. And behind that, we leave some showers, but the heavier rain is going to be done for the time being until we get into Thursday. We have another round of heavy rain. It looks like it's going to favor Oregon to start on Thursday, but that Washington-Oregon border Thursday into Thursday evening will see pretty significant rain once again. Here's a look at our additional rainfall totals for the rest of today. Anywhere from around an inch of rain for the lowlands, lower totals where we see that rain shadow set up for our northern counties, but higher totals for our mountains. Once again, 1 to 2, maybe an additional 3 inches for our mountains. So we are not done with the rain quite yet, Christine, but we will continue to keep an eye on what this additional rain means for that flooding situation.
Okay, Leah, thank you. And more now on the situation in South King County. More than 2,000 people were forced to evacuate in the middle of the night after a levee on that White River failed in the city of Pacific. Actually, let's right now go live to this press conference with Governor Bob Ferguson. They're just about convening inside this building in downtown Seattle. Let's listen in.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm Communications Director Brianna Aho with Bob Ferguson's office. It's been a long disaster. I'll just run through the speakers that you'll hear from today very briefly. So first, we've got King County Executive Girmay Zahalai, then Governor Bob Ferguson, then Major General Jen Welsh, Julie Meredith, Washington State Department Transportation Secretary, then Aaron McCann, American Red Cross Coordinating Officer, then Pierce County Executive Ryan Mello, and then they will take your questions. With that, Governor Bob Ferguson.
Actually, remind you first.
Oh,
We're
sorry.
taking that order.
Of course,
We're taking that order. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the King County Chinook building. I want to thank Governor Ferguson and all of our elected partners and first responders for being here this morning. Welcome to King County. I can only be here for a few minutes this morning because early this morning, my wife and I welcomed our second baby girl. Yeah, thank you so much. I will be rushing back to the hospital here very soon, but I want you to know that our teams at King County are keeping me informed on a consistent basis, and Deputy Executive Curran Gill, who is somewhere around here back there, will be stepping in for me as needed over the coming days. Before our announcement, I want to say that I am so proud of the collaboration that has been happening across all levels of government with our cities, our counties, our state. We have received excellent communication from Governor Ferguson and his team during this disaster. Even last night, we were able to pull together a meeting with all of our South King County mayors, along with our governor and our 2 U.S. Senator offices. This is the type of collaboration that I want our region to feel hope from. I know we're experiencing all kinds of challenges right now with the levee breaches, one at the Desimone levee just this morning with the White River in Pacific. All of those situations are being handled as we speak, and those levees are being repaired. But today, I want to share that collaboration is going to go to the next level. With the coordination of the council and our chief budget officer, we are announcing today that King County will make an initial investment of $1.5 million in shelter assistance and debris removal. And I want to be clear that this announcement is nowhere near the scale of what's needed to address the damage and the lost profits that our communities are experiencing. We are just trying to pull together short-term resources while we work toward federal disaster relief, and the governor will be announcing some state resources today as well. We spoke with members of the King County Council this morning, including Budget Chair Rod Dembowski and Council Chair Sarah Perry, and they are also supportive of this measure. To repeat, I want to reiterate that we are going to be putting in $1.5 million as a start in disaster relief resources, but full recovery will take intense collaboration and resource sharing between federal government, state, and local governments working closely with philanthropy and nonprofit communities. For now, we're going to work with our emergency management teams to ensure that funding is going to the places that need it most immediately. Over the last few days, there have been hundreds of county residents displaced from the floods who have been in shelters in South King County or are staying with family and friends. We also heard that there's a need to support debris removal throughout some of the county's further eastern cities of Carnation, Duval, and Skykomish, and in South King County as well. We're going to identify needs to get resources out as soon as possible to support work in those areas. I just want to say before I close that I am so thankful for the first responders and King County employees who have been working around the clock. We are seeing our emergency management professionals working 24/7. We're seeing our sheriff's office saving people from the roofs of cars and from drowning. We're seeing wastewater employees trapped in buildings continuing to do the work of providing clean water and resources to our communities. It has been truly, truly inspiring to see our King County professionals, along with first responders from all levels of government, showing up for our communities. And so I want you all to know before I hand it off to Governor Ferguson that we are here. We're working round the clock to support our communities. This is a very challenging time, but we will get through it. I'm going to hand it over now to Governor Ferguson. Thank you so much for your leadership and calling us all together today. Thank you.
If you could give our best to Joyce, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we appreciate the county executive hosting us, number one, but also, obviously with a significant day in his life and Joyce, we wish them all the best and appreciate him taking a few minutes to join us. I also want to thank all those who have joined us today on very short notice. Things are happening fast, and we appreciate the collaboration, the hard work of everybody who's here. We got a range of elected officials and community members who are here, and you'll be hearing from some of them in a few moments. I also do want to take a moment to thank the media who's here. I've been tracking, to the extent I have time, reports are going out there, and getting that information out to the people of the state I have no doubt it's saving lives. Like, there's just zero doubt in my mind. And also just a sense of, there's nothing like a visual to get a sense of the scale. I think it's easy to get complacent for folks, like, hey, it's another storm. But I think when you see some of the visuals that are being reported out there, I'm confident that has more than the words I can say or any of us can say, to see those images, I think, are important, and I just deeply appreciate that you're all doing that. And I know this is, I think, our 5th press conference since this started, and I just really appreciate all of you communicating out in the ways that you are. It's been a difficult week, and that difficult week has been made more difficult by a loss of life that was reported early this morning in Snohomish County. On behalf of the people of the state of Washington, we extend our condolences to that man's family and loved ones for what's obviously a very challenging time. That is, we believe, the first fatality as a result of the storm. We've had many conversations about in the last 5 days how thankful we are that there had not been a fatality, and that really feeling like a minor miracle, to be perfectly honest, just given the scale of the challenge. But our hearts go out to that individual and their family and loved ones. I also want to express my deep appreciation to our first responders, the National Guard, our emergency management teams, numerous state employees, and all those who are lending a hand to help Washingtonians through this emergency. Long hours, as you might imagine, are the norm for those individuals. We deeply appreciate their hard work and dedication. I've met a number of folks who are not only doing that work, but then going to their homes at the end of a long day to try and stabilize their home situation and deal with the family situation, because the floods are impacting them quite directly. And that is quite inspiring to see that level of dedication. Even they have their own risks that are personal, that they're out there doing their work to help other Washingtonians. As we've been saying every day since this started, the situation is extremely unpredictable. And that's something I want to emphasize again to all Washingtonians. We've seen that unpredictability just in the last 24 hours as 2 examples: the levee breach in Tukwila and also the situation in Pacific Washington this evening, where there was an emergency evacuation. I've seen video of people literally on the streets in the middle of the night coming out of their homes. We have, this is not, and it's not a 1 or 2 day event, right? We're in for the long haul, and all that water is putting a lot of stress on our infrastructure, and we're seeing that in real time. And that is something I just want to emphasize to Washingtonians, to be alert. If you get an evacuation order, for God's sakes, follow it. I was down in Pacific County with Executive Mello Sunday, I think it was, and met with water rescue personnel, and one of those individuals said, this is someone who's done a lot of water rescue in his professional life. He mentioned in the last couple of days being in a situation in the water that he felt was a life-threatening situation for him. Nobody wants to put our first responders in that level of danger. If you get an evacuation order, leave. That's for your own safety. It is also for the safety of first responders, because guess what? If you're in trouble and you call, they will go get you out. That puts themselves at risk. And so we're asking individuals for this very volatile situation to make sure that they're listening to those orders. I also just want to add the coordination at all levels of government, with tribes, with organizations that you'll hear from, communities across our state, has truly been tremendous. That is, I ask at every stop I go to, and I've been to a number, is there anything else you need? Is there any more coordination you need? The response has always been, no, we've got the resources we need. People are responding quickly. That's from Grays Harbor to Yakima, Stehekin, all around. That has been the response I'm hearing from folks. And that coordination, we need it. And it has served us well. It's helped. The other thing I think has helped is significant investments in infrastructure in recent years. In Ording, for example, investments in a levee system there compared to floods several years ago, night and day in terms of the impacts there. Mount Vernon, Washington, the seawall there literally saved the downtown. King County, the King County Flood Control District has invested hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to shore up our flood system here and prepare for it. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with individuals saying, it's bad, it's really bad, but the magnitude would have been far, far worse had we not made those investments. And these are investments just in the last recent years, have literally, they're convinced, saved lives, saved businesses, saved entire downtowns. So I think all those things have served us well, and I'm grateful for leaders over recent years who have made those investments and the individuals in the state of Washington willing to invest in that. While it will be some time before we know the full scope of the emotional, physical, and financial impact, this natural disaster is undoubtedly one of the most devastating in our state's history. I do want to take a moment to speak directly to Washingtonians who are directly impacted by this emergency. We see you. We know the situation you're in. We're doing everything we can and moving heaven and earth to get resources to you as quickly as humanly possible. All Washingtonians, even those not directly impacted by this disaster, need to brace themselves. We are in for the long haul with this natural disaster. We'll provide more information, but our infrastructure has been compromised. We'll have to dig ourselves out of this situation. This is not a days-long thing or a weeks-long thing. This will be going on for months. This is a very significant event in the history of our state, and that's an understatement. And that's why we're working as hard as we can around the clock to treat it exactly that way. To give you a sense, we've already had over 1,200 rescues and evacuations across more than 10 counties in Washington state. Once again, Washingtonians need to stay alert to the situation and obey road closure signs and evacuation orders. We expect additional widespread flooding across the state today and tomorrow. The Skagit and Snoqualmie rivers, as just two examples, are both expected to surpass major flood stage, cresting today and tomorrow. Importantly, we're also expecting major high winds across the region in the next 24 to 36 hours. The report I had yesterday was up to 60 miles an hour. You can imagine in a state that's been inundated with the amount of moisture that we've experienced, those type of high winds can be potentially very dangerous and create all sorts of challenges for us in the work that we're doing, and making the situation even more challenging for first responders and for all of us to respond to this situation. Roads and highways. State Department of Transportation, you'll be hearing from Julie, has reopened more than 60 roads since the storm started. I'm deeply appreciative of the hardworking Washington employees who are out there around the clock reopening those roads. It seems like for every two they reopen, another one, something happens, right? So, but they're out there relentlessly trying to keep those open for Washingtonians. We deeply appreciate the hard work of those state employees. As of this morning, there are closures, I believe, on 13 state highways. That number, of course, changes almost hourly, daily for sure. But as of now, that's the number. There are currently additionally 7 road restrictions. Several state highways have been severely damaged. Julia will provide more information, but I just want to highlight a lengthy stretch of Highway 2, as you probably know, is severely damaged. It is very difficult for us to project how long anything will take to repair. We're just getting our arms around the scope of the challenge up there. But as an example of what Washingtonians need to expect, we anticipate that Highway 2 will be closed for months. It's premature to estimate exactly how long that will be, but that is obviously a major highway. We understand the implications to business and individuals and human lives on not having that highway available for an extended period of time. We're going to do everything we possibly can to repair it as quickly as possible, but literally underwater in stages. There's major issues on that roadway, on that highway, as just one example. We understand that many Washingtonians' lives have been deeply impacted personally by this emergency. We're also moving quickly to try and get relief to those individuals. I've had numerous conversations with my team, with local elected officials across our state, to see what can we do to pool immediate assistance to folks who may need assistance with a hotel stay, groceries, baby diapers, that type of thing. This morning I signed an amendment to my emergency declaration. The amended proclamation adds more information about county-specific impacts in 14 counties, and it activates several state cash and benefits assistance programs to provide emergency support. I'm appreciative of the legislators who are here and others who have worked in recent years to create this system in place so we can move those dollars out on a very short-term basis while we move forward on trying to get a declaration of emergency relief from the federal government. We're working to activate as many state resources as we can. We currently have identified $3.5 million that I, as governor, can move on my own without legislative action. I know the legislature supports that decision anyway, but of course there are limits on what I can do as governor. Of course, without legislative action, we've identified that $3.5 million. We'll provide information to the public as soon as we're able to stand that process up where folks can access. I'm also working with leadership in the House and the Senate to move forward on essentially first week legislation of the legislative session to get additional resources to folks right away and increase that dollar amount. More to come on that. I want to make sure I finish the conversations I need to have before making a public announcement, but obviously we're working hard to make sure we increase the amount of short-term funding available to folks who are really dealing with the crisis situation right now. Our Emergency Management Division is also setting up disaster case management. That will provide assistance to counties and tribes to hire disaster case managers. These case managers will provide long-term assistance to Washingtonians and help them navigate the resources available to them. We expect to bring that online soon. In addition to these individual assistance funds, there are other resources and assistance through many different agencies. This is a very non-exclusive list, but just to give a sense of scale of the type of work that's being done. The Washington Department of Agriculture expedited USDA foods to Skagit County and will deliver more than 70,000 pounds of food tomorrow to local food pantries and meal programs. They're also helping farmers find services, including helping identify locations to shelter animals. The Healthcare Authority is instructing Apple Health pharmacies to replace lost or inaccessible medications or supplies due to flooding. The Department of Social and Health Services is helping connect people who are deaf, blind, or hard of hearing to resources, including its hearing equipment replacement program. The Office of the Insurance Commissioner has teams of experts ready to deploy when the time is right to help homeowners and businesses. That is just a sampling of a few examples, but as you can imagine, across many agencies and governments and tribes, a massive amount of work is being done right now to make sure we're getting resources out to individuals, and we all understand that we need to move in a manner consistent with the scope of the challenge that Washingtonians are facing. We're also moving forward to seek federal funding for needs as well. The federal emergency declaration granted by President Trump last week brought in federal resources to deal with the emergency right in front of us, saving lives, clearing debris on roadways, for example. General Welsh will talk more about some of that work as well. It did not offer monetary assistance or assistance to individuals. That's not the way that works. So what we're working on is a major disaster declaration. That's what unlocks significant financial resources for individuals and for local governments and the state for the impacts that will no doubt be profound from a financial standpoint. In order to get that declaration, we need to meet several requirements. We must show the scale of the disaster is beyond our ability as a state to fully respond. Confirm we have taken appropriate action as a state under our emergency plans. Provide an estimate on the amount and severity of damage to the public and private sector. This can be a time-consuming process. We've already started the conversation with local governments. We've had many conversations to make sure we're coordinating as quickly as possible to get that information and make a compelling case to the federal government of the scope and size of the damage that's been done to our state. We need to describe the resources utilized to alleviate the disaster and provide preliminary estimates on the type of assistance needed. I am confident we will make a very compelling case for disaster relief. Maybe I'll just briefly mention there are 3 types of FEMA disaster assistance that we'll be seeking. Public assistance can be provided to state, tribes, and local governments and certain nonprofits for emergency work to repair or replace facilities damaged by the disaster. That would include things like roads and bridges that we'll desperately need assistance with. Also, hazard mitigation assistance can be provided for projects like flood mitigation. And third, and importantly, individual assistance can help with a variety of costs for individuals who are facing significant costs after a disaster, including temporary housing, home repair, counseling, and legal services. We're also working with the Small Business Administration to get a disaster declaration from them, which will allow homeowners, renters, and business owners to access low-interest disaster loans. And before I turn to the general to say a few words, to put this in some context for Washingtonians, this is a major event in our state's history. It is truly historic. The river levels we've seen are historic, and we've been tracking those river levels for more than a century. Every day I get multiple briefings, and just as one example with Julie on roads, like clearly just highway, those highways are under a lot of stress right now, and it'll take us time to even determine how long it will take to reopen some and exactly what that damage is. So, I deeply appreciate Washingtonians pulling together during this really challenging time. Neighbors are helping neighbors, communities are helping communities. I can't tell you how many elected officials have said, hey, you know what, our community's not impacted, but we want help. What can we do? We've got resources. That's the approach that does not surprise me in our state. We're all pulling together to address an extremely challenging situation. And for those Washingtonians, again, who are directly impacted, I just want you to know, speaking to you directly, we're all doing, and many thousands of other Washingtonians are doing everything we possibly can to get you help right away. Thank you so much all for being here. I'm going to turn now to the general for additional information. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all for being here today. And certainly thanks to our new King County executive and new dad as of this morning, Executive Sahai. King County has been a tremendous partner in this, and we truly appreciate the collaboration, and really so has the media. Appreciate everybody being here, appreciate the support. You're sharing critical life-saving information. You're sharing it every day, and in some cases, every hour. We've been relying on you to get the word out about evacuation notices, weather forecasts, and when we move into this recovery phase, we'll be turning to you to help share some of the information to get people help with some other resources out there. We are now on day 8 of this disaster, and for me and many others here, I think it's feeling a lot like Groundhog Day. Every morning we wake up, we pull out our phones out, and we look to see for some improvement out there, but Mother Nature seems to keep throwing us another curveball. I spent the last week out in our communities surveying the damage. I've seen homes filled with several feet of water. For those impacted, my heart goes out to you, and I pledge that we will do whatever we can to help you recover. We all have families that are heading into the holiday season this year without a place to stay, and this is not going to be an easy road ahead. The Washington National Guard is doing what we can to assist those who need it and prevent further damage. You see it on the commercials. When events like this thing happen, our men and women leave their civilian jobs, they get into their cars, they leave their families, and they offer their communities a helping hand. And I wear a patch on my uniform, and it says mission, people, and community. And this is the emphasis on the community part. Our women and men live and breathe this, and the last 8 days have demonstrated this community commitment. We still have approximately 250 soldiers and airmen helping with this response. They filled over 15,000 sandbags. They're preventing people from driving down dangerous roads, and they're going door to door to help with evacuations. We have aviation crews that have helped with search and rescue and to gain situational awareness. Our helicopters and pilots remain on standby and will likely get a bird's eye view in the next coming days of damaged roads across the state. Yesterday, we sent a team immediately to Tukwila to help with the levee breach. Our team was asked to walk the levees and dikes and help identify any weaknesses. And early just this morning, we moved people and 8 vehicles closer to the town of Pacific to help emergency crews responding to the levee breach there. We will keep these men and women prepared to go at a moment's notice, and if necessary, quickly add to our numbers. We have more folks that can roll out the door if they're necessary. With that, I want to remind you that the National Guard does not self-deploy, and that's for good reason. We go where we're asked, either by the governor or local jurisdictions. So if you wonder why the National Guard is in one place or another, it's because someone has asked us to be there. So let me stress this. We are helping here for this flood response, and we're helping with our local partners. Any suggestion to the contrary just isn't true. I want to give a shout out to our federal partners who are here that have been a tremendous help. The emergency declaration approved by the president last week unlocked a lot of direct resources, people and equipment, and we're putting them to work now. That was incredibly evident this morning when we learned about the situation at Pacific about 2 o'clock this morning. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers immediately got to work finding sand and getting those large 5,000-pound HESCO sandbags in place. The situation in Pacific, while bad, certainly could have been a lot worse, and I would say we are certainly not out of the woods yet. I appreciate our partners at the Corps of Engineers for their quick action this morning and certainly throughout the duration of this week. Additionally, you have federal search, urban search and rescue teams in the Pacific area this morning helping with evacuations and any swiftwater rescues, and I think there may have been some already. Again, another federal resource that we turn to immediately. The federal government has provided several of these search and rescue teams, and again, we have one positioned up in Marysville, 2 in Kent, and 1 down at JBLM. The Coast Guard has been a tremendous help with rotor wing aircraft supporting search and rescue operations throughout the Northwest. Meanwhile, I'll be heading up to Bothell tomorrow to visit our partners from FEMA at their Regional Response Coordination Center. These folks have been on every coordination call with us and have sent folks to Camp Murray and our State Emergency Operations Center. They've been true partners, and we certainly appreciate that. Again, truly a team effort. Appreciate the help from every one of our federal partners, even that I didn't mention. As the governor mentioned, we're currently working to assess the damage. It's going to take time. It's 1 step forward in some cases and 2 steps back with the constant storms. But we'll remain in contact with our federal partners as we move through the process and, as the governor said, request a major disaster declaration just as soon as we can. It's going to take some time. There have been a lot of questions about damages. As we go and gather that information, we won't have firm numbers really until the storm waters recede and we can safely get in there. And let me stress, this is an evolving situation, as the governor said repeatedly. The next couple days and even in the couple weeks, it's going to be challenging, and especially tonight over the next 24 to 48 hours with the heavy winds on top of saturated ground. You've got potential power outages, roads out, all in the middle of a flood. So really a complex series of issues. Please continue to follow the guidance from our local emergency managers and first responders, and be confident that we are willing to deploy resources quickly to help our local communities. Thank you.
If you're just joining us right now, here at noon on King 5, we have been listening in to a news conference hosted in King County in downtown Seattle. You just heard from the governor and also a general. Let's listen in as we get some more details on the recovery response.
When the flooding began on December 9th, and I want to thank all the crews we have out there doing the work to open the roads and keep people moving. Much gratitude for the work they do. As of this morning, and this can change, we've had more than a dozen roads closed in 9 of the counties across the state. It's important to remember that these roads could close again with the more rain and the continuing landslide risk that we have coming forward. We're not out of the woods yet. The wind and the rain can make this more challenging over the next several days. The best source of information is WashDOT's real-time map on our website that will provide you minute-by-minute updates on the road conditions and the closures. As you heard from the governor, some of our main focuses have been on US 2, which is closed for about 49 miles between the towns of Skykomish and Leavenworth. Several areas on that highway are damaged and washed out, so the roads are not there any longer. We will need to rebuild those sections of highway. Near milepost 54, there's a bridge that's covered over several feet of debris with active landslides going on in the place nearby. Our geotech crews are out there reassessing on a daily basis what those slides are doing and assessing whether we can get in and do further work. In Tumwater Canyon, you may have seen the photos of the washout of the road in that section of highway. It is still an active slide area with erosion continuing. The weather and the river are really the main factors affecting our ability to address these areas. And as you heard, we have no estimated time to open that, and it could take months. US 12 is also closed near the town of Natchez. About 200 feet of road washed away in that section. While there is a local detour there for people to get around, we are still going forward with emergency repairs of that corridor, and our crews are working 7 days a week to address this washout. We hope to have that section of highway open in the next few weeks. You also may have heard about SR 410 between Enumclaw and Greenwater. That section has been washed out by the river. It's in active erosion, and we are piloting people through that on a daily basis. I also want to thank the general here who's offering us aerial views of these routes, in particular US 2. So if weather allows, we will be able to assess it over the next few days. So I look forward to that. I just want to stress safety at this time. Safety for the public, for our crews and all the hardworking first responders. I want to emphasize, please never drive through standing water or debris slides. If you can't see the roadway, don't go forward. It could be far deeper than you can realize. And we need everyone to observe our roadway closures. These signs are there for everyone's safety. If they're in place, it's not safe to proceed. Thank you.
Good morning, you all. Erin McCann here with the American Red Cross Coordinating Officer for our event that we are supporting here in the state of Washington. Thank you, General. Thank you, Governor, and King County for having us here. We appreciate having a seat at the table and being able to share our message today. I wanted to share a little bit about what we at Red Cross have going on at the moment. Currently, we have a variety of responders that are assigned. Today, there are 263 responders assigned to the operation, with 248 that are checked in physically here in Washington. We have 15 en route to continue to support, and 15 of those are folks that are supporting virtually. At this time, we have served 11,900 meals and snacks. which have been distributed across the area of the operation in the state of Washington. Of these, 6,300 are shelf-stable meals that were sent to get food in areas that may be closed due to the incoming weather, which may cause the passes to be inaccessible through the mountains. We have started our distribution of emergency supplies program, and at this time we have distributed 1,270 cleanup kits and other emergency supplies, which have been distributed across the state of Washington. At this time, I know of 100 of those kits have been distributed here in King County. Our open shelters, we've had open shelters since the beginning of this event, and we've had over 970 overnight stays, which have been provided in these emergency shelters since the start. There are 9 open shelters, of which at this time, 8 of those are Red Cross managed and 1 is partner managed, with a total overnight count of 167. With that, specifically in King County, we have a few shelters that I would like to share about in their overnight population. Starting with in Auburn, at the Auburn Community and Event Center, last night we had an overnight population of 52 folks that were in that shelter, as well as that's our primary shelter at this time. We are standing by for any more support requests at this time and are happy to open up additional shelters if needed. I wanted to share a little bit, they've talked a little bit about the spans of this disaster, and this disaster area spans a total of 123,000 miles in the state of Washington, and that coordination takes a lot of effort and is a large area to manage. We really appreciate our partners that are at the table and everybody standing behind here to be at the table and to be able to present today, and we greatly appreciate the support. Thank you very much for having us here.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ryan Mello, the Pierce County Executive. I'm the final planned speaker before Governor Ferguson leads us in taking any of your questions. Governor, I want to thank you for being so engaged statewide and at the local level. I think I've talked to you more than I've talked to my partner in the past 4 days.
Sorry.
No, he sent, you might like it. But Governor, thank you for leaning in. Thank you for all the coordination from the team. It's so appreciated. We feel very supported in local government with our first responders and emergency management providers. As the governor mentioned, he came down to Pierce County to see firsthand some of the crisis in Pierce County. It's certainly different all across the region and the state. In Pierce County, as an example, the governor and I got to see firsthand. In particular, we have 3 mobile home parks that we're most concerned about. 3 mobile home parks, about 150 individuals housed in these RV parks who have really seriously compromised housing conditions as a result of the flooding. So like Executive Zahalai, we too are making local resources available until we can unlock state and federal resources. We're helping these folks who are most vulnerable. In my community in Pierce County, it's these 150 residents who live in these RV mobiles that we're most concerned about. And so we're providing them shelter and food with local resources until we can unlock much needed federal resources. First responders in Pierce County, like a lot of communities, are literally going door to door to be able to move people out of harm's way, and human services providers are helping to move people to shelter and other services. And we are so very grateful to our first responders who are working day and night, and our emergency managers. The last thing I want to mention before I turn it back over to the governor is another example of significant regional coordination and how local government partners from throughout the region are banding together to support each other. Pierce County is the operator and administrator of what's called Washington State Task Force 1. Washington State Task Force 1 is a FEMA urban search and rescue unit that is, again, operated and administered by Pierce County. My team worked overnight along with the governor's team and the military department to get the necessary agreements together to deploy Washington Task Force 1 to our communities in Skagit County earlier today. So it's my understanding that they left shortly before we convened this press conference. These are professionals in urban search and rescue, technical assistance, medical assistance, and logistics, and they'll be there as long as needed to protect life and property. Governor, thank you again.
So thanks everybody again who's joined us today, and we're happy. We have lots of folks who can help answer detailed questions as well if you have, whether it's the weather or anything else, and we're happy to take any questions. Yeah.
Governor, you just talked about the infrastructure
Yeah.
weakened as a result of this, and obviously there's a complicated series of levies and dikes
Yes.
county by county.
Yes.
The question is, who's responsible on a county by county basis for inspecting them in advance to prevent them from a failure?
Yeah, so I'll let others maybe speak to that. So the question goes to, for those who are watching, I mean, I've heard levy system, a lot of stress in that system, and who's responsible for checking that? And you mean, Sir Chris, in real time right now, but also long term when the floodwaters?
Long term
Yeah.
or in advance of a weather system, like a lot of people knew
Oh,
was coming?
well, so we have folks out there in real time checking those out. I'll let experts speak to it, but I just want to say at a high level when it comes to that system is, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I'm deeply thankful that we made as a region, as a state, investments in that infrastructure. I was on the King County Council when that flood control district was created, for example. I'm thankful that investments were made, and this is all across the state. That said, one thing I'm hearing over and over from the experts, who will probably speak in a moment, is there's tremendous stress on that infrastructure. As well as it's held up, all things considered, that stress is there. There's active monitoring going on. One thing I've also had communication with is when the floodwaters eventually recede, we don't know what we're going to find in terms of damage to the infrastructure that's going to need additional reinvestment to make sure it's secure for the next go-round and the next major event. But I'll turn to others who maybe will speak more precisely, kind of who precisely is there. Robert? And maybe you might introduce yourself. That'd be great. Yeah.
Robert Ezell, Director of Emergency Management for the state. And really, the management of the levees and dikes is a shared responsibility. Some are federally managed by the Army Corps. Some are managed by local levee and diking districts. And so ultimately, it's a network of systems with multiple jurisdictions managing them.
Do you know what the inspection records were on some of these levees, or when they were last inspected by these people who are responsible?
I would have to get back to you on that one, and we can research it and get you a detailed answer to that question.
And just a quick follow-up, and it could be for the group, there was some reporting overnight about 2 dams that may have cracks in them. What's the status of those dams? What have you seen with other dams in Washington State?
We've had a couple of dams that we've been watching, one out in Grays Harbor County, and then we are always keeping track of the ones in East Pierce and King County. And so we've seen some areas of concerns. The experts, the Army Corps, and others are watching those to make sure that they're not presenting a danger to the public.
Can you elaborate on what those concerns are?
Again, it's fill levels and a degree of security and whether the dams are able to withstand the strain. And again, I would have to get back to you on specific things that they're looking at on a dam-by-dam basis.
Is there anything for anybody to be concerned about with those dams right now?
Right now, we have not had anything that concerned to us that presents a danger to the public.
Probably apologize for that, but to that point, I'm going to come back to this again. Folks need to be vigilant, right? This is an extremely unpredictable situation. Our infrastructure has held up remarkably well, but when you're talking about the volume of water that has been impacting our region and our state for a week now, and that's going to ramp up again here in the next 48 hours, folks need to be vigilant. And so a lot of work is being done to monitor levees, to make sure we're paying attention to the dams. But that's why I'm repeating, we are still in the middle of this. We're not at the end. That's not where we're at. This is a very active situation, very volatile situation. That's why I want people to be very vigilant. And we, of course, work hard to make sure we get information out as quickly as we can. Yes?
Governor, so obviously a big part of this is just waiting for the weather to let up and relieve some of this pressure. But can you talk about some of the factors that are in our control as far as trying to slow down some of the flow, relieve some of the pressure? Like what kind of tweaks are being made to mitigate this?
Yeah, so we've had conversations with our federal partners at every level for exactly that issue, to make sure that, hey, as we make adjustments on water levels, what are the impacts going down in terms of flooding? So those are conversations that are happening in real time every single day. I've been on some calls where those conversations have come up. Just so folks know, we have 2 daily calls every single day. We have one with state and federal officials, right? The general, for example, and his team is on those calls. I'm on those calls. We have one that's more focused on local elected officials with the same folks there as well. So we have multiple daily calls with folks from all across the state where they can report in about what they're seeing, and we can have those conversations.
And maybe the Director of Emergency Management can clarify, but can you get into some specifics of kind of processes that have been taken to relieve some of this pressure?
I'm not sure. Are you able to speak to that, Robert?
I can speak to it in general terms. Yeah, and the dam owners and operators are constantly managing the water levels in the dams, and if they do need to release water to reduce pressure on the dams, there's a whole coordination process that takes place between the owners and operators and then the communities downstream to let them know what's happening. But again, those dams are being very dynamically managed to make sure that they're not exceeding the capacity or the safe water levels within the dams.
Can you give us any examples of where that's happened?
It's happened upstream of the Nisqually. I think it's been happening on the Cowlitz and any number of other rivers.
Yes.
Anna Edgerton with Bloomberg. I realize this is probably a preliminary question, but do you have any estimate or guidance on the economic impact to the state of Washington, both like direct impacts and economic consequence later on?
So the question is economic impacts to the state. No. Look, a lot of our state's underwater as we speak. You know, Highway 2, we don't even have a full, by any stretch of the imagination, do we have anywhere near, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, Julie, a full assessment of the damage of that one critical highway. So again, I want to underscore, this is a major event. A lot of our state's underwater. We can't access certain parts of the state. So anything I say about that would be totally inappropriate and premature. What I will say is the impacts to our state from a financial standpoint, right, from an infrastructure standpoint, that will be profound. There's no way to sugarcoat that. That will be profound. I don't know what that dollar amount's going to be. We're not going to know that, I suspect, for quite a while. And also, we're appropriately focused on what's right in front of us, right? Everybody's pretty maxed out, and we're focused on what's right in front of us and preparing for that emergency relief that we need from the federal government. As soon as we have any information around that, of course, we're happy to share that, but it just would be premature at this time.
And you were asked a little bit about this on Friday.
Well, you have been right now watching an update from state and local officials laying out disaster relief plans as recovery is now expected to take months. You just heard from the governor and other officials that there is a special focus on some of the dams and the structural integrity of those. We will, of course, continue to follow that. King County, we have also heard, is making an initial investment of $1.5 million in shelter assistance and debris removal. The governor really remarking that this is one of the most disastrous flooding situations in the state history. There have been at least 1,200 rescues as well, and the emphasis is that people should stay alert. Now, hundreds of people were forced to evacuate in the middle of the night after a levee on the White River failed in the city of Pacific. King 5's Natalie Swaby joins us now live from Pacific with the very latest situation there. Natalie.
A lot of activity going on here. We're here at Pacific and 3rd, and I just want to show you what's happening on this road. This is where crews have been at work for hours, and I'm going to walk you through the timeline. This is the latest update we're receiving from the public information officer here in King County. We know at about 12:45 a.m. there was a significant water release from the levees. I'm told it was a fire hose-sized release, and there was an emergency response to that involved letting 1,300 residents in this area know. It meant sheriff's deputies going door to door. There were sirens and announcements letting people know that they were now in an evacuation zone. So that is part of the first section of this emergency, getting the people out. Now it's about getting the resources in. And you can see there those big white bags. They have about 300 of those super sacks. Those are there to prevent further flooding. And really the focus is on the Mud Mountain Dam, which was scheduled to have a release from the Army Corps of Engineers around noon. And that means there potentially could be impacts in this area in Pacific by about 4 p.m. That's what they're preparing for. That's what they're taking precautions for. So the operation here, it involves multiple agencies. That includes King County, that includes the National Guard. They're aiming to minimize damage here. We spoke with that public information officer a short time ago. Listen to what he had to say.
Be safe. If you received an alert asking you to leave the area because of the water, then please do so and follow it. And don't avoid signs, obviously. Don't drive past road closed signs, anything like that. Please adhere to it as much as possible.
And back out here live, we just have seen so many of these heavy trucks moving in and out. Now, there is a lot of water down that road. They're just keeping the public back. But we can tell you there are apartments, there are homes that are right next to those floodwaters, and it really is an emergency scene out here. We are told there were some rescues in this area overnight, and again, 1,300 residents in this area alone receiving that evacuation warning this morning. So continuing to be a very developing, fast-changing scene out here. We're going to stay out here and continue to bring you the latest, but that's what we know for now, live in Pacific. Back to you.
Okay, Natalie, thanks so much. We'll check back throughout the day. And also today, it appears the floodwaters have claimed their first life. You heard about this during the news conference moments ago. A man died after driving into a flooded road near Snohomish. Earlier this morning around 1:30, firefighters rushed to reports of a submerged car on Marsh Road near the Snohomish River. We're told a rescue swimmer pulled the driver, a 33-year-old man, out and performed CPR, but that man did not survive. Crews searched the vehicle and confirmed no one else was inside. They say the car left the roadway and entered a ditch that was in 6 feet of water. This is right now at last check how high that water was on Marsh Road. That road at last check is still closed. Much of the Snohomish River Valley is flooded, as we have been reporting, with the river still on the rise. In Skagit County, Go Now evacuations are back in effect for a stretch of homes in the town of Concrete. State officials say that the continuing rainfall could worsen a landslide discovered there last week.
When we heard it, I'm like, when is it going to hit my house? We could hear this rumbling sound. We didn't know what it was.
But landslides are just one concern in Concrete. The Skagit River is back on the rise and is expected to crest at major flood stage tomorrow morning. However, it won't be as high as last week's crest of more than 41 feet. Right now, it's forecast to crest at around 35 feet. All of Skagit County remains under a flood watch through Thursday. To help affected families, a new Red Cross shelter is now open in the town of Concrete. It is at the Mount Baker Presbyterian Church on Main Street, and pets are welcome. You also heard it right here on King 5 moments ago. The governor said that US 2, Highway 2, will be closed for months now for repairs. It is closed in Skykomish, impacting travel all the way to Leavenworth. The city is still dealing with downed trees, crushed cars, and damaged homes. Last week's storm knocked out power for 2 days and left a big mess in several neighborhoods. The damage was compounded by the Highway 2 closure, making it harder for cleanup crews and customers to get access. Residents are describing the intense storm that swept through the area.
The temperature literally, like, we felt it raise like to 70 degrees. It got very warm very fast. And then you could just see what was almost like, I don't know, a hurricane, like a bomb cyclone.
Power has since been restored, and this weekend's downtown festivities are back on. But officials say things could change depending on the weather. Conditions along parts of Highway 410 near Enumclaw appear to be getting worse right now. You can see entire chunks of the road have fallen along the water there. WashDOT says it will be closed indefinitely. There is some good news, though. Highway 9 near the town of Sumas in Whatcom County is back open. This right here is how it looked in the small Canadian border town last week. Almost the entire town was underwater. The water so deep, we saw people kayaking and even jet skiing throughout the streets. So let's get back to Leah Pizzetti for the forecast and what's in store for today, Leah.
Hey, Christine, I want to start with something that I think is an important clarification. Rich Merritt and I just did an explainer. We put this on our King 5 Plus app, so you can check that out. But big picture, I want to talk about what a flood watch is versus a flood warning versus a flash flood warning, because all three of those have entered the forecast in the last week. So a flood watch is kind of the lowest concern. Pretty much everybody, with the exception of the Northern Olympic Peninsula and Kitsap Peninsula are under a flood watch. That just means we are keeping an eye on conditions, generally speaking. A flood warning is something that we're able to forecast pretty far out. We've been able to do it days out in this case because of rivers on the rise. That's a combination of the forecast plus the current stage of the river. So that's these lime green areas. Last week we had many more flood warnings because of how widespread the rivers were and the rising rivers were. But at this point, we're only keeping an eye on a handful of those rivers that are still going to be at flood stage. But that's something, a flood warning is something we can predict pretty far in advance. A flash flood warning is what we've now seen twice because of those issues with the levees. That means rising river is quickly coming up, and it's a flash flood. So it's something that is much shorter of a prediction. It happens very quickly. There's less time to react. It's much more imminent. So we've seen those now because of those levees that have failed. Thankfully, we have yet to see a flash flood necessarily, but because those levees have failed, the possibility is there. So they put those warnings in place because you do not want to be caught in those. So that's just something to clarify. The flash flood warning is what we see. We see them in thunderstorms sometimes when you see heavy rises in precipitation, but at this point it's because of levees and infrastructure that are failing, as our rivers are just so full because of how much rain we've gotten. It's not just the rain last week, but it's now the rain this week. These are our rainfall totals from yesterday. 2 1/3 picked up in Shelton, Tacoma, Olympia, Seattle, all about an inch of rain recorded yesterday. And we have more on the way. In fact, it's going to be increasing into our evening hours tonight. This is a loop of the last couple of hours. You see it's mostly stayed to the north and the northwest, and it's been fairly light in nature, but we do see some of that steady rain starting to fill in farther south, and that will continue for the next couple of hours. So it is going to be a rainy evening once again. Rain is going to increase into this afternoon, and it sticks around for the remainder of today. Here's a look at 4 p.m. today. That heavy rain starting to push in, and it really fills in late tonight. Between about 8 to midnight is when we're going to see some of the heaviest rain across western Washington and into Oregon as well, actually. Then after midnight, it starts to transition, not just tapering off as the front moves through, but to snow as well. So we're now going to shift our focus to mountain snow over the Cascades and the Olympics as well. Into tomorrow, not as much widespread impactful rain, but we'll still hold on to some showers, and we'll continue to keep an eye on some snow potential. So for the rivers that we're keeping an eye on right now, the Skagit River near both Mount Vernon and Concrete are expected to hit major flood stage tomorrow and Thursday. Not as high as what we saw last week, but still major flood stage. That's really the only area for major flood stage. We're watching moderate flood stage for the Skykomish and Snoqualmie near Carnation, but overall the rivers are not looking as high as what they did last week. It's fewer rivers that we're keeping an eye on, but we are going to stay in first alert weather mode for the remainder of today and tomorrow. I want to also note that we have strong wind that is going to be picking up late tonight. It is going to be a blustery day. We'll talk about that more in the next half hour.
In 3 days, we were just soaked.
And still ahead, we are seeing stories of loss all over the region, with flood victims relying on shelters and community support just days before Christmas. Our continuing coverage straight ahead. Plus, a delayed jobs report is out showing the job market is cooling. We'll have the latest on the economy straight ahead. And as holiday travel ramps up, a warning for flyers trying to skip the security lines. The Better Business Bureau says it's getting hundreds of complaints about a popular expedited screening service.
Christine, what kind of results have you seen using Intent IQ?
What you see here are stats that we've tried out for the past year, impressions with Intent IQ ID attached to them. And we've seen, anywhere between over 55% revenue uplift to upwards of 140%.
Now, I can mention that we've succeeded
by working with some agencies and advertisers. For example, we've delivered a successful campaign with Involve Media, leading to a 77% of increased lead in an education campaign. Now, the ultimate proof that our ID bridging solution is actually working is through the results, like we're providing and generating new incremental revenues for publishers and driving great performance campaigns for those agencies and advertisers, and it's just the beginning.
A U.S. Surgeon General's oath is to care for your health and to protect the nation.
Today, we're gravely concerned that recent developments are undermining that mission.
And misguided actions are putting protections at risk.
Vaccines prevent serious illness.
Americans across political spectrums want continued access and clear guidance from trained physicians.
Demand the freedom to protect your health.
Demand the freedom to protect your health.
Demand the freedom to protect your health.
Fresh pineapple is delicious, but cutting exact rings is impossible. Now, you can make rings with ease. Introducing the Pineapple Ringmaster. Simply slice the top off a fresh pineapple, then align the Pineapple Ringmaster around the core and twist. With each turn, the rings are cut in a spiral right down to the base. Give it a pull, and you're a Ringmaster! Plus, you've got a perfect pineapple cup for serving your favorite tropical drink. Scan the code on your screen now and get your Pineapple Ringmaster today.
Welcome back. I'm Christine Pei. Time for a check of our top stories. People living near a breached levee in South King County were told to leave their homes this morning. Police in Pacific urged about 2,000 people in the evacuation area near the White River to evacuate after the National Weather Service issued a flash flooding warning overnight. Crews have been using sandbags to try and contain the water. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is working with King County officials to assess the damage and determine the next steps. We are learning about the first flood-related death. This happened overnight near Snohomish. The Snohomish County Sheriff's Office says a man drove past warning signs on Marsh Road and his car became submerged in about 6 feet of water in a ditch. Crews pulled him out of the car and tried CPR, but the man died at the scene. Crews have completed emergency repairs to the Desimone levee along the Green River after a levee breach yesterday right before noon. It triggered a flash flood warning and forced evacuations in parts of Tukwila, Kent, and Renton. King 5's Savannah Welch joins us with the latest message from emergency officials.
Well, King County officials say it's safe for people to return to their homes, but people in the area are still asked to stay alert, be informed, and are also under a level 1 be ready notice that was as of this morning. The levee breach on the Green River triggered a flash flood warning that threatened more than 46,000 people. Warnings went out for Kent, Renton, and Tukwila. This was along the east side of the Green River near South Todd Boulevard. Crews spent hours containing it with heavy HESCO sandbags and stopping the flow of water. Officials stress the repair is only temporary, and they're continuing to closely monitor river levels and weather conditions. We spoke with several people whose home in Tukwila flooded on Monday, even before the levee breach.
We lost everything we had, which wasn't much anyway, but we don't have anything else. And it's Christmas time, and it's like, I think we'll be okay.
Officials say the county has been watching river flooding even before this last week's storms and taking steps to prevent major issues along the Green River. They've been moving forward with the Lower Green River Corridor Flood Hazard Plan. It aims to reduce flood risks through parts of Auburn, Kent, SeaTac, Renton, and Tukwila. The last planning committee meeting was back on October 15th, where officials shared updates and next steps. Also, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in Seattle is working with King County officials to assess damage and plan next steps for for a permanent fix on this levee that ruptured yesterday. King County officials say several other levees across the area have been damaged and more repairs are expected. The Green River levee, the one that was damaged yesterday on Monday, had damage from 2020 storms, which is why it was weakened. Officials are also keeping a close eye on other levees along the Green River that also suffered storm damage from 2020. Those include the Fort Dent levee and Kent Airport levee as well. Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
Okay, let's get back to Leah Pizzetti now for checking the forecast, and we got some wind happening right now.
Right, Christine, because there's not enough going on in the forecast. So yes, this is another thing. We've been talking about the rivers and the flooding and the rain, but another thing I really want to make sure everybody is ready for is the wind as well. This is a tonight event. In fact, we not only have a wind advisory that has been issued, but we have a high wind warning. This is the highest level of that wind alert, and this is because some of our areas will see extremely strong wind for tonight and into our overnight hours. So this is a concern on its own, but then when we factor in how saturated the soil is, trees are going to fall over that much easier. So I do expect to see downed trees tonight. I will not be surprised when we see power outages. I do expect it to be an active night in the wind department as well. And I already showed you the rain. The rain moves in tonight. We have heavy rain that is accompanied by the strong wind. So wind advisory, this lighter beige, this is mostly the foothills and a good chunk of Puget Sound around Central Sound. This is going to start at 4 p.m. tonight, and that is because we'll see gusts up to 45, 50 miles per hour. So that is strong, but a step above that, or even 2 steps above that, a high wind warning has been issued. And this is for areas along the peninsula, Hood Canal. We're looking at South Sound, and then the northern parts of Puget Sound. This is because gusts will be in at least 50 to even 55 miles per hour. So it is going to be blustery out there. Here's a look at this afternoon. You see it's starting to pick up a little bit. Later on tonight, it'll start farther to the north. This is showing 7:30 p.m. tonight, 20 to 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. It shifts down a little bit farther south. This is overnight, so a lot of this is going to happen in our overnight hours. 1:30 a.m. tonight is what you're watching here. You see widespread 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts are expected. I will not be surprised if we see gusts even stronger than that, 50 to 60 miles per hour. We actually did clock in a gust of 96 miles per hour at Alpental, so higher elevation certainly plays a role, but this is something that we're going to see in the lowlands moving forward. Then as we head into Wednesday morning, we are going to shift our focus to the eastern slopes of the Cascades. 40, 50, close to 60 mile per hour gusts are expected over there on Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning. So Christine, it's not just the rain. We're also watching that wind.
And we will be watching. Thanks so much, Leah. Now, minutes ago, state and local officials just updated us on the flood response statewide. King 5 Sebastian Robertson was there in downtown Seattle and joins us live. Sebastian.
Hello. The governor was joined by federal partners and also local stakeholders in what has become a widespread, nearly statewide natural disaster, at least on the western part of the state. Governor Bob Ferguson calling this one of the most devastating disasters that the state has experienced. And really the big takeaway from this is that things are not going to be easing up anytime soon. He says there is more high winds, rising river levels in the forecast, and of course rain. He says the true damage of this may not be known for several weeks or months to come. We know that one person has died in floodwater in Snohomish County. And as of this morning, more than 1,200 swift water rescues have happened in what is a very quickly evolving and changing situation. The governor's also really reiterating a warning that we've heard all week long to heed evacuation orders. He says, quote, for God's sake, go if you are ordered to go. As of this morning, 13 state highways remain closed, including Highway 2. A big takeaway from today is that Highway 2 has experienced significant damage. A more than 40-mile stretch of that roadway is closed, possibly damaged. They said to expect closures for months. I want to give you a little bit of sound from the governor from this press conference that just happened moments ago. Take a listen.
To put this in some context for Washingtonians, this is a major event in our state's history. It is truly historic. The river levels we've seen are historic, and we've been tracking those river levels for more than a century. Every day I get multiple briefings, and just as one example with Julie on roads, like clearly just highway, those highways are under a lot of stress right now, and it'll take us time to even determine how long it will take to reopen some and exactly what that damage is. So, I deeply appreciate Washingtonians pulling together during this really challenging time. Neighbors are helping neighbors.
The governor says that the president's disaster declaration from last week was very helpful, though he says that by design, that is not designed to help individuals per se. So he says he was able to make $3 million available nearly immediately from the state government without having to get legislative approval. Though he says that fellow lawmakers are on board, he expects that money to go out as soon as possible. We're also getting a bigger scope of how many people are involved in this. The Army Corps of Engineers is on the ground. Coast Guard helicopters have assisted in search and in monitoring from the air. There's also the deployment of a federal urban search and rescue team, a small specialized team that is on the ground. They're based, a couple of teams based in several parts of the region. They expect to be making a real difference as we speak. But this, as the governor and as all the officials here are stressing, is not over, as they will be carefully watching the weather. Back to you.
Thank you, Sebastian, for that recap. We got a lot of new information in today. We also know that a lot of this information can be overwhelming. And for everything you need to know about any road closures, evacuations, and river levels, you can text the word flood to 206-448-4545, and we'll send you a link with all the details. We've also activated our Northwest Response in partnership with the American Red Cross. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen. Your donation goes directly to the American Red Cross to help those affected by the floods. And you can also visit king5.com to find this donation link. Some other headlines that we are following this afternoon. Today, a federal judge will hold an emergency hearing that could stop construction of President Trump's new White House ballroom. A historic preservation group filed a lawsuit claiming he needs approval from Congress and to submit plans to 2 commissions for review. The east wing of the White House was demolished in October on President Trump's orders. The FDA is issuing warning letters to several retailers for not removing recalled baby formula from their shelves. ByHeart baby formula was recalled last month because of a large outbreak of infant botulism spanning 19 states, including Washington. The FDA reached out to Target, Walmart, Kroger, and Albertsons, but none of the companies we're told responded. The highly anticipated November jobs report is finally out, and it's not great news. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports just 64,000 jobs were added in November after 105,000 jobs were lost in October. That's a net loss of about 41,000 jobs. That October number is based on partial data due to the government shutdown. Sales at U.S. retailers were flat in the month of October. According to the Commerce Department, retail sales were unchanged in October from the prior month. That is down from September's 0.1% increase and the weakest monthly reading in 5 months. It's roughly in line with what economists predicted. This report was also delayed because of the government shutdown. Let's give you a live look outside from our Columbia Center tower cam. We are, of course, tracking wet and windy weather that is sticking around. Leah Pizzetti is back with details in your First Alert forecast.
We're potty training. He's got pull-ups training pants. They work just like undies. And if accidents happen, he's got backup. Look at that confidence.
Oh, I wish I had some of that.
This is a journey. Loosen up. New Disney and Marvel designs. Only at Walmart.
Emma, let's talk about your festive faves.
Okay.
Favorite holiday tradition?
Favorite holiday tradition, definitely decorating the tree.
Favorite piece from our holiday collection?
I would say the black sequin sheer skirt that I will be wearing all through the holidays, but also all year round.
Love that. Favorite gift you've ever received?
I don't know about ever, but I do love receiving a doll or a collectible baseball card.
Favorite wintertime activity?
I like snowboarding.
And finally, favorite holiday movie?
It's a Wonderful Life. Is that a holiday movie?
It can be.
I feel like it's a holiday movie. And also, who am I kidding? The Holiday. My mom and I watch that all year round, though, so it's hard to pick a holiday movie when I'm someone that also listens to Christmas music all year round.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better protection from online threats. Get NordVPN now.
For over 65 years, this has been our promise. Everyone deserves good shoes at fair prices. The kid who believes the right cleats will make her faster. The grandmother who thinks heels will make her fiercer. The teenager who feels those boots will make them braver. Shoes for every journey. Shoes for everyone. Shoe Department and Shoe Show.
On the 12th day of Craftsmas, Michaels gave to me 12 new trees are standing, 11,000 ornaments, $10 in reward, 90,000 fabric options, 8 ways to crochet, 700 balloons, 6 decor collections, 5 book stocking stuffers, Christmas villages for all, 3 in-store events, 2,000 epic deals, and a holiday I'll never forget. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I fit it up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Botox Cosmetic is the brand I trust and recommend for not only myself, but my patients.
I was excited to book another Botox Cosmetic appointment because it is tried and trusted.
And the only one FDA approved for over 20 years.
Botox Cosmetic is FDA approved to temporarily improve the appearance of moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines.
The results are natural looking.
Talk to your doctor about Botox Cosmetic and whether it's right for you. The effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms.
I got treated with the one and only Botox Cosmetic.
Find a licensed Botox Cosmetic specialist at BotoxCosmetic.com.
One year free from hair and hair removal? Discover Braun IPL, the at-home alternative to laser. Buy once and save money year after year. Shop Braun IPL, available at Walmart.
Okay, we are in first alert mode still. Let's check in Leah Pizzetti with a brand new warning that just came in effect right now.
Yep, Christine, there is a lot going on in the forecast. Let's add some more to the excitement. A rare blizzard warning has now been issued. This just came out from the National Weather Service. This is for both the Olympics and the Cascades, and this is because of not just the snow, but the wind as well, a prolonged windy, snowy event. So we'll talk about that, but I want to show you, you can see that precipitation moving in right now in the form of rain, and that is going to continue into this afternoon and evening. So let's walk you through it hour by hour. Let's get you to 2:30 in the afternoon today. It is widespread rain with pockets of heavier rainfall today. Look at the Olympics. I'm not seeing any snow falling over the Olympics. It's too warm to start. It's just heavy rain over the Olympics. Looking at the Cascades, especially in the foothills, we'll see that heavy rain. That is what's fueling our rivers in the lowlands, and that is why we also continue to monitor river flooding potential for the next couple of days. The worst is over, but we still have some rivers that we're keeping an eye on. This is 5 p.m. this afternoon. We are going to see some pockets of heavier rainfall in the lowlands, but we'll see that rain increasing and becoming more widespread later on tonight. 8 p.m. here. So at this point, we're going to see some pockets of heavier rainfall in the lowlands around the Kitsap Peninsula, down to the south. Same thing in the foothills, a lot of that stuck soaking up that precipitation, and that continues into late tonight. 10 p.m. is what you're seeing here. Same thing, widespread rain, a little bit less rain around the rain shadow. The Olympics are going to suck up a lot of the precipitation from about King to Snohomish into Skagit counties as well. So a little bit less there, but most of us will see heavy rainfall tonight. Midnight tonight, this is when we're going to start to transition away from that low level rain, but we're not done yet. Then after midnight, we shift our focus to the mountains. This is when the snow comes into play. We will continue to have wind throughout this time frame as well. By the way, all of that I just showed you, it's going to be windy in addition to that rain. The wind, we're looking at gusts in the 40, 50, even 60 mile per hour range as that front passes through. It is going to be wet and windy and snowy as well. That's why we have that blizzard warning that has now been issued. As we head into tomorrow, we have some rain that continues, and we will also continue to watch mountain snow through the end of this week. So, hey, we don't have a snowpack. Mother Nature said, let me deliver, and it is delivering. It is going to be very snowy in the mountains here Thursday night into Friday. We're continuing to watch that snow over the Cascades. So snow levels are finally going to be low. This is the end of this week into early next week. We're staying at 2,000's the lowest we'll get, but that does mean our mountains will get snow. And we have the wind as well. So yes, this rare blizzard warning has been issued. We don't even have it on our key. That's how rare it is. We typically watch winter weather advisories, winter storm watch, or a winter storm warning. We do have a winter weather advisory issued. We do have a winter storm warning issued. Those are going to start this afternoon and continue until tomorrow night. But we're also watching this blizzard warning. This is extremely rare. We do not see these in Western Washington. We did have 2 issued in 2024, in January and November. That was the first time we saw in more than 10 years. So only 5 have ever been issued, 06, 08, 2012. This is from the National Weather Service in Seattle. 5 last year. Let's add a 6th one into the equation right now. This is because of snow, but blowing snow. It's a combination of the two. You have to have a prolonged period of heavy snow and wind, and that's what we have this evening. You can see those gusts 40, 50 miles per hour, and it increases into our overnight hours. This is just after midnight. Look at those purple colors indicating that strong wind for the lowlands. We shift our focus to the eastern slopes of the Cascades into early in our overnight hours. So yes, it is going to be active over the mountains. We are staying in first alert weather mode through Wednesday. We will see if we need to extend that, but look at those temperatures cooling from the 40s down into the 30s as we head into the weekend. Temperatures will really cool down.
Okay, Leah, thanks. Definitely throwing a little bit of a wrench into all of the weather coverage that we have. Thanks very much for the latest. Let's now give you a live look at SR 167 from one of our WashDOT cameras. A stretch of northbound lanes remain closed because of the flooding that you can see. You can also see that the southbound lanes are open at this time. Keep in mind, this is a very busy 6-mile stretch of road between South 212th Street in Kent and 15th Street Northwest in Auburn. This closure, again, 167, may add more congestion on I-5 and I-405, so plan ahead if you are taking any of those routes. Turning to some other headlines now, as the busy holiday travel season continues, an issue is plaguing some travelers. The Better Business Bureau is reporting hundreds of complaints about a company that offers expedited security clearance at airports. Linda McCarrow has details.
To get through the busy holiday travel season, millions of Americans sign up for programs aimed to get them through security quicker. One of them is a private program called Clear, which says it uses biometrics for faster security. It's available at 60 airports, including JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark Liberty, and 11 sports and concert venues like Yankee Stadium.
And that's just for the 1 year.
But the Better Business Bureau serving metropolitan New York says some customers complain that Clear isn't being clear on its billing policies.
A number of people have complained that they went through the check-in line at an airport and were met by a Clear representative. And they were persuaded by that representative to sign up for Clear, thinking that it was a free trial. The problem is that most free trials do turn into a subscription that you have to pay for.
Clear charges $209 for an annual membership, which renews automatically. The BBB says it's received complaints from some customers who tried to cancel.
There have been a number of difficult situations in getting a refund, getting the subscription canceled.
On its website, Clear members can cancel by logging into their account. There's also a phone number that's open 24 hours and a live chat feature. Clear's policy is that if you cancel within 14 days of being charged, you'll get a full refund. If you cancel after 14 days, your account will be scheduled not to renew.
So there have been over 350 complaints in the last 3 years. There have been over 125 in the last 12 months alone, and there have been over 75 that the company has not responded to.
We asked Clear about the BBB's concerns. A Clear spokesperson tells News 4, with over 7.7 Clear Plus members who actively use and renew our service, thousands of travelers successfully sign up, test our service, and manage their memberships without issue. We take customer feedback expressing frustration with the cancellation process seriously and will work to address any issues with that process to make it a better, more user-friendly experience.
You should never make a decision on a purchase under pressure. And I can't think of a more pressured moment for me than getting in line at the airport, waiting to be run through the security check at TSA.
To help expedite airport security, for domestic travel, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security offers TSA PreCheck, which costs $76.75 for 5 years. The application process involves a background check and in-person interview where fingerprints are taken. For international travel, there's the government's Global Entry Program, which costs $120 for 5 years and includes TSA Pre. Consumers are urged to do their homework before signing up for any of these programs.
Well, so many of you are helping us show the impact of the floods. Here's a look at some of the other pictures that you have sent us. Send us yours at 206-448-4545.
You can't skip this ad, but you can skip bacteria with Crest Pro Health.
Christine, what kind of results have you seen using Intent IQ?
What you see here are stats that we've tried out for the past year, impressions with Intent IQ ID attached to them. And we've seen, anywhere between over 55% revenue uplift to upwards of 140%.
Now, I can mention that we've succeeded by working with some agencies and advertisers. For example, we've delivered a successful campaign with Involve Media, leading to a 77% of increased lead in an education campaign. Now, the ultimate proof that our ID bridging solution is actually working is through the results, like we're providing and generating new incremental revenues for publishers and driving great performance campaigns for those agencies and advertisers. And it's just the beginning.
Wish you could yell at mosquitoes to stay off your skin? Now you can with Skeeto Band. This tech marvel harnesses sound waves to create an invisible shield. No nasty chemicals or odor. It works up to 130 hours on a single fast charge. Get a cool-looking Skeeto Band for every member of your family. It's the healthy way to yell, "Stay away, mosquitoes."
I don't know why I was so lucky 30 years ago to walk into a building that holds journalistic standards at the heart and soul of the operation.
We've been around a long time. So people in the community know us. They know we're serious about what we do, and they know we're not going away. Experience can kind of be the roadmap that you follow to get the answers in this business.
And when you have as much experience as we do, the bar is high, but we're going to get there.
Seattle firefighters are spreading some holiday cheer to patients at Seattle Children's. The hospital says this is the first time in many years the department has paid a visit. Firefighters incorporated safety messages and passed out goodie bags, also a badge, sticker, and the very popular red helmets to patients. Chief Scoggins also visited patients in their rooms throughout the hospital. Well, stay with us right here on King 5 for continuing coverage of the weather and all of the flooding. We'll bring it to you live streaming at 3 p.m. this afternoon and at 8 p.m. on King 5 Plus.
Christine, what kind of results have you seen using Intent IQ?
What you see here are stats that we've tried out for the past year, impressions with Intent IQ ID attached to them, and we've seen anywhere between like over 55% revenue uplift to upwards of 140%.
Now, I can mention that we've succeeded by working with some agencies and advertisers. For example, we've delivered a successful campaign with Involve Media, leading to a 77% of increased lead in an education campaign. Now, the ultimate proof that our ID bridging solution is actually working is through the results. Like, we're providing and generating new incremental revenues for publishers and driving great performance campaigns for those agencies and advertisers. And it's just the beginning.